Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 6th of April 2015. This is episode 123, Spring Break. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Spring break was a lot. I'm so tired now. So tired. We didn't go anywhere, we just stayed home, but having both of them at home is so much. It's so much. Our Easter was good. Was yours? We had a cul-de-sac egg hunt. There were 550-ish eggs and, I don't know, 17 kids or something. So it was crazy, but it was good. And it's nice because we live on a cul-de-sac, so the kids could run across the street back and forth getting eggs, and we didn't have to worry about them being safe or not. And my kids got a package from their Grammy, an Easter package, and that was really exciting. It got here. I went to the mailbox and retrieved it, and they were playing with two of their friends from down the street, so they shared their Easter stuff, which was so good. I like when my kids think of others, not just themselves, because they're like, oh, candy. And I was like, yeah, you're playing with friends right now. And they're like, oh, yes, friends and candy at the same time. Of course, we asked with the grandma, because don't just give kids candy. It's not good. I am still sounding really, really lovely because the weather has still not figured out exactly what it wants to do, although I think it's leaning towards springtime. So I think that I'll probably be rid of all of this very shortly. And please excuse me if I forget to edit out a cough or a sniffle or something. I will do my best to make sure that it's not in there because that's gross, but sometimes I miss them. So the Steampunk Get Along, it finished, and we have a winner. It was between posts 2 and 14, and the post that won was number 3, Legria. For that post, she had the Age of Brass and Steam, which she called bold as brass, steel kraken, and it was made out of handspun, and it was gorgeous. It was not the only project that she put in, though. She was also post number 14, so that's exciting. Anyway, did I ever even mention what the prizes were? Because I think that I probably did not. Well, the prize options, not the prizes. Prize options. So the prize options are a Skein of Marigold Jen sock yarn with sparkle in the copper patina colorway, or a pattern up to $10 US, or something made by me using stash yarn, which we would discuss. So let me know, Allegria, which one you would like, and I will either get the yarn and pattern out to you, yarn or pattern out to you immediately, or start working on a project for you. All right, have a giveaway. It is going to go for 2 weeks, and I will open the thread immediately today, before this even goes up. It is for a copy of the pattern for the Beekeeper's Quilt by Tiny Owl Knits, and it will be this copy right here, this printed version. And there will be a prompt, maybe not. Maybe it'll just be like, I want it. I don't know. I have no idea. Go to the thread, look and see if I thought up something clever, or if you just say, I want that. And yeah, two weeks from now, I will draw and get that out so that whoever wins it will have time to receive it before the All the Small Things Knit Along, which runs May, June, July, and it is for any finished object, a Hex of Us, a blanket square, a single sock. For anything that is not a hexapuff or a blanket square, I will allow it to be a work in progress before the time of the knit along, because you know I love when we finish up our whips. So that will be coming. I think that's all I have to say about that Get Along. I don't know. Oh, and all of the prizes for all the small things will be small prizes. Stitch markers, mini skeins, a pattern up to, what did I say last week? $4? That sounds about right. Yeah, those will be the prizes. And I'm not 100% sure what all of the prizes are yet because I had an offer of donation, so that's exciting. And if you would like to donate a prize, of course, for anything, just contact me whenever, and that would be awesome. So, finished objects. I have a lot of them. I have this one that you did not see last week because it was super, super quick. I bought, I don't know, maybe a month ago, they had some colorful duct tape at work that was on closeout prices. So 2 of them were $2 and 1 of them was $1. And the $1 one was this pink zebra duct tape. And I saw it and I thought of my friend Lisa. So I made her this duct tape wallet. And it's not perfect because I've never made a wallet before. But it opens. It has a side pocket right here where you can put dollars and this, not dollars, like cards. And then dollars can go in here. So, I don't know. I made it. I was pretty impressed with myself, kind of. I mean, it's not a difficult thing. Obviously, small children can do this, but I've never made a wallet before. So that was kind of fun. I will link to the tutorial. It is, it's very simple. It has clear instructions and it has 10-second videos for each instruction. I didn't watch them, so I don't know if the videos are any good, but they're there in case you needed them. I just read the instructions and went off of it. But yeah, I made this little duct tape wallet for Lisa, and I'm pretty proud of myself. This is not going to be the only duct tape wallet that you see, though, because while we're talking about it, these are the other 2 duct tapes that I got. Penguins! Ugh, I'm so excited for the penguins. And this cute sheepy duct tape with little black sheep on it. How cute is that? So that's happening in the future. I don't know when in the future, but it's happening. I finished my design hat. So this is what it looks like, kind of briefly. It's all handwritten out on paper, but it is not written up for test knitters. I will get that this week, now that I will have mornings with only 1 child, and get that to test knitters quickly and hopefully get it released soonish. I found it to be a very quick knit. We'll see what my test knitters thought. This is where I was last week. So I had the decreases to go, and I had to frog the decreases after I did them the first time because I didn't like the way that it turned out. But I redid them a second time and I was like, oh yes, much better. So this yarn is Sophie's Toes in the vintage kitchen colorway, and I used US 1 for the brim and US 3s for the rest. 1s are 2.25 millimeters and 3s are 3.25 millimeters. And this is the olive cave stitch marker that is marking my place. I put these stitch markers, by the way, really quick. Okay, so product review time, I guess. I put those stitch markers on all of my projects as the project progress keepers this week, and they all held. None of the lobster clips gave out, which is, I find that happens pretty frequently with the little lobster clasps. They give out when they're being moved around a lot, or when they're just being handled a lot. But so far, I mean, it's only been a week, but so far so good with those. The lobster claws I have also used. I don't know if you saw them last week when I was showing you the square, my remade square number 16. I had them in there on the actual needles, so they fit up to a size 3 comfortably. And yeah, they worked really well. They slid really easily off of up to a size 3. I used them on a size 1, a 2, and a 3 as a actual like beginning of round marker and other things. Stitch marker. They are working really well, really well. Even though they are dangly, they're not, these ones are not dangly to the point where they get in the way of the work as you're going. Do you know what I mean? Like some stitch markers, the dangly ones, they're just a little bit too long. They get in the way. These ones don't have a problem. So I'm really enjoying this set a lot. And I will tell you again next week what I think, because I feel like things like that need a little more time than maybe a week just to have an opinion. But so far, off of a week, I love them so much. I think that they are excellent quality, especially for the price. You can't argue with that price. And they're beautiful. So, finished the hat. I also finished the scarf. And it is blocked, so it probably looks quite different than you're used to it looking. It's a lot flatter and the ridges are spread out, but I like that a lot. It is, before I blocked it, it was 55 inches long, which was too short. And now it is 69 inches long, which is still, I think that's a good length. I think that that was about what I was aiming for this, which is good because I only have probably 10 yards left, which would be 3 1/3 yards once it was divided into 3s. And I may have been able to get another one of these ridges out of it. Why am I holding up black so you can't see it? There you go. One of these. But then I would have had to rip out this section right here because you decrease down. So you start here with the actual pattern and then you decrease on the other end to give it points on either end. I really like the way that it turned out. The pattern is ABA scarf, and the designer's name should be here because I can't pronounce that. I was so this is the scarf folded in half. I was here last week, so I did almost half of the scarf in a week. It's a super quick knit. It wasn't even a week. It was a handful of days. Super fast. I did cut the pattern down by about 40% of the stitches because it's written for a fingering weight, but I used a lace weight held 3 together. So it was more of like a DK worsted. The fabric is really nice, very lovely. It's a Regia in color 06577. So it does this lovely color block change thing, which would be much longer if I had left the lace as it was, but I didn't want a lace weight scarf because I feel like that would have been too girly. And it's for my brother-in-law. So that is this lovely scarf. What else about this? I used size 6 4.0 millimeter needles, and I don't think the pattern calls for it to be blocked, but I did need that extra length, so I blocked it. And I think it looks nice blocked. I think it also looks nice unblocked. So maybe in the future, maybe I might make another version of this, but not block it. Maybe. We'll see. I can't commit to that because you know how I feel about remaking the same thing. But this pattern is really simple, and it would be a decent, like, carry around project because it's super simple. It's just 2 rows repeated in 5-row increments. Free pattern, fantastic. What else did I finish? Oh yeah, these. So I finished the, what are these? Raison d'etre by Lisa Tomko. These are a sample for Leading Men Fiber Arts, and they are still damp. I was where this stitch marker is. I blocked all of my projects this week, all of the finished ones. and you can see that they both have the LFK stitch markers in them. I did not block them with, or I did not put them in the water with those stitch markers in because I wanted them to last. I put these plastic stitch markers in and then switched them out for the LFK stitch markers because I don't want to force damage to go onto the stitch markers. You know what I mean? Like, water's not good for delicate things, so I always use the plastic ones. Water's not good for metal things. Anyway, so 2 socks, and they are damp because I finished them yesterday and started blocking them, but I will show you what the front looks like on these socks. Absolutely gorgeous. The pattern is well written and the stitch patterns are lovely. This is a sample for Leading Men Fiber Arts using their Spotlight base, which is 80% BFL superwash and 20% nylon. And the colorway is My Maker, and the stitch definition is just beautiful with this yarn. So there you go. It's very lovely. I've not woven in the ends yet. I will do that as soon as they are dry. Some people do it before. I like to do it after. Sometimes I do it before though. Depends on how I'm feeling. But I wove in all the ends on all my other projects already, so just one to go. And then I will be sending these off to Steve of Dramatic Knits and Leading Men Fiber Arts. Yeah, I finished a bajillion things. So what did I start? Because obviously I had to start some things. I didn't really work on my Charybdis socks, just so you know. They're sitting there looking at me. I put 2 rounds on. I'm not going to show them to you. I started a baby blanket. That's the wrong side, this side. It is going to be a star with this lovely blue color and brown because I love blue and brown together. And I'm using a USG 6, which is 4.0 millimeters. This yarn right here, this aqua color, is Red Heart TLC Essentials, I think, in the Robin Egg colorway, and the brown is Red Heart Super Saver in coffee. It is a commission piece for someone who is not a crafter, so I wanted to make sure it was machine washable, and it'll hold up fine. It's not amazingly soft, but babies are kind of gross. They spit up and have leaky diapers and everything. And while I find that Red Heart Soft and Karen Simply Soft are, and other soft acrylic baby yarns, they're soft. They don't hold up to washings the way that this does. I have an acrylic baby blanket that is my baby blanket from when I was born, and it is not amazingly soft, but it's still like comforting, and it doesn't have any wear or damage. Whereas some of the baby blankets that were made for my son are damaged because they were made out of the softer baby yarn. So for something that's not going to be worn or used a ton and possibly go through the wash, like a sweater, sweaters aren't necessarily going to be in rotation constantly. I would use a soft thing for that. But for a baby blanket, especially one that is intended for like over a car seat, so it's going to fall and get dirty and get dragged around a lot, I opt for the less soft things. That pattern is Beth's Little Star Afghan by Beth Parsons. And it is a free pattern from Ravelry. I also started a child tube sock, which is my pattern recipe thing on Ravelry. I started it on double points and then put it on my 9-inch circular so I could just take it to work. This is my new work knitting. And the yarn is 716 knit 716 sock in the colorway My Hormones Don't Rage. It was a club colorway from the Daria Club. And it was actually the colorway that was released with my pattern, It's Blizzard Ho for Me. But I already made, I made socks in a similar, like in the prototype of this colorway. This is a little bit brighter. The prototype was a lot more of like Green Bay Packers colors. So it was changed in the final to look like this. And this is nephew socks for Christmas. So yay, first tube sock for Christmas started. I'm using 56 stitches total for it. So whatever the math was for casting on the toe and stuff. I don't remember, but I'll do it again when it's time to cast on the second one. I am using US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles for this sock, and I really love these 9-inch circulars because they're super fast. You don't have to worry about needle maintenance at all, and just occasionally moving the stitches. So that's why I like these for, this is why I like this project specifically for work. I started another pair of socks, and it is not distinguishable as anything yet. I have the beginnings of toes. Started it last night. I will be making, the pattern is, let's see, it's called Boyfriend Socks. Sorry. Boyfriend Socks by Alice Bell. Free pattern. And what it is cables that intertwine, kind of. Pretty simple. They are written for size 72 is the smallest size that they're written for. I am only making a 64. So also the pattern is written, and I needed to figure out where I was going to take out stitches, obviously. So I charted it. So I'll be working off of a chart. And what I did was I took out the first set and last set of purl stitches at the beginning and end of the pattern. And that might cause me to throw in a random cable. I'm thinking about it. I haven't decided yet. Because instead of being knit 1, purl 2, knit 2 for the smallest size, it's knit 3. And that will cause 6 stitches to be on the sides of the socks. So I might throw in a cable on the sides of the socks. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. Obviously, because I'm not through the toes yet. The yarn that I'm using is Peyton's Croy FX in the Cascade colors. So it will be a long color change thing, sort of like the Regia scarf, where it moves through the colors like that. That's how Croy FX works up also. I have a work in progress that is not my own. Last week, I think it was last week when I got all of the embroidery floss for braceletness. Well, Gabriel started one. I did the first color repeat. So it goes orange, red, green, yellow. No, I didn't even do the whole first thing. I did the first 2 colors. I did orange and red, and then he did green, yellow. And the rest of it is his work. So that's pretty exciting. And it's, I don't know, it's over halfway to a 6-year-old's wrist, because it is halfway large enough for mine. He only does probably a color section at a time and then sets it down and goes off and plays and stuff, but it's still exciting. He likes it a lot. He just comes over, picks it up off of my desk. We are doing the safety pin method, where you pin it to the leg of your pants to keep it tensioned. So he pins it onto his pants, does a color section or 2. One night I was in a VKN and he did probably a full pattern repeat. It's very cool. And he is really, really excited to make it and give it to his friend. I did a barn raising square, number 17, and it is out of a colorway that Gabriel chose. I let him pick last week. before I podcasted, he picked. So this is number 17, and it is out of whatever yarn it was that I made his Christmas socks out of last year. I can't remember if that was I don't think it had a label. I think that's why I can't remember. It's yarn that I got from Haley. It may have been drops, or it may not have had a label. I can't remember. But that is what square number 17 looks like. And I made a bajillion Hex of Us because I bought some new things. So new things first. Well, part of new things first. I went to my local yarn shop this week because I needed new needles. I wanted to start the child tube sock, and I knew I was going to use my size 9 circular, so I wanted double points to start the toes. Went to find my size 1 double points, and these are the second pair of needles I bought after learning to knit. Like, I got a learn to knit kit that had 2 sets of straights, size 6 and size 8, and then I bought size 2 double points, and then I probably bought a size 2 circular, and then I bought size 1 double points. And so I went to find them, and I could only find 3 of the set of 4, and they look like this. They are very bent and warped, and just not the best things to knit with. I mean, they still work. They still serve their purpose. I'm not going to get rid of them because then I would need them, obviously. So they still work in a pinch, but yeah, they're just... I couldn't find the 4th one, so they weren't useful for what I needed them to do. I mean, I could have started toes on them and it would have been fine, but okay, really I just wanted new needles. That's what it comes down to. So I went and I got a set of Hiya Sharp. Oh my gosh. So those ones, the bent set they're boy needles. I got them at Walmart and they're fine. They serve their purpose. These Hiya Sharps, it is love. I love them, and I will shell out the dollars for them in the future. I only use them for that one toe, so that's not really enough to give a real product review, but I'm really looking forward to casting on the second toe, and I might actually do a sock on double pointed needles soon because I like these so much. They're such nice double points. They are, let me show you. I suppose I'll pull them out, show you the tips and stuff, even though my camera doesn't really focus. So I have this 6-inch length, which is a good length for my hands. They are shorter than my boy double points, which I like actually. I find the boy ones to be a little bit longer than what I need. But here are can you tell the difference between the tips? I don't know if you can or not. The boys are much less pointy. And again, they were fine. They worked fine for cabling and stuff, but I think these are just going to be amazing for cables, and the size is really, really good for my hands and will be really good for putting in project bags too. Oh my gosh, I love these so much. And while I was there, I have been wanting a size 3 fixed circular for, I don't know, a year about. Definitely since the last ZK, but I think even before that. So I think about a year, and I haven't bought them. So since I was there, I bought US 3 Hiya Sharps, and the reason that I wanted them, this in particular, the fixed size 3, was so that I could magic loop hexapuffs. I haven't made hexapuffs in a really, really long time. I don't know, November maybe? Hadn't made any. Bought the size 3. I'm going to get back to new things in a minute, but right now I'm going to show you the hexapuffs. So, magic loop, maybe 2, right? Maybe 3. Or you could be a crazy person and magic loop 7 at a time. So here are the finished Hex of Us. This is prototype yarn from the Daria Club. It's Josh's prototype. And that one is Television Counts as a Place, I think. I think that's what the colorway's called. I don't know. You'll see it in the next couple months because I've decided, random tangent, that my kids' Christmas socks are all going to be made out of the Daria Club yarn from last year because one is green, one is red, and one is unicorn vomit colors. Perfect. Perfect for my niece and nephews. This orange is the Red Hots colorway in Lion Brand Sock Ease. I used that in Gabriel's sweater. This is Peyton's Croy FX in Clover colors, and I have made several pairs of socks out of it now. Several or just a couple? I can't remember. I feel like it's been more than 2, but maybe not, because all that comes to mind are the Christmas socks that I made for Lorraine's husband and the Nutkin socks that I made for Steve. This is yarn that was either from Lindsay or from Amelia. I can't remember if this is who this is from. One of those two, because it is the rainbow yarn. Oh my goodness. Nothing says screw you like a rainbow. This is the Christmas sock yarn from Gabriel from last year. This is the remaining colorful stripe from the drops yarn that I used in last week's barn raising square. And this is yarn from Haley, random leftover mini skein. Okay, back to new things. So I bought the needles and I was about to leave the store. I was checking out. She had me rung up. She said the total and I looked over and there was a Zobber ball. And not just any Zobber ball, the particular Zobber ball that I had been looking at for at least 2 years. What am I going to make with a Zobber ball? I have no idea, especially the one that I'm going to show you. It's beautiful, but I don't have anything in mind for it. And usually when I go to the local yarn shop, I mostly just buy needles. The yarn is nice, but I have a lot of indie dyer friends who I buy from, and I'm sure you noticed that I don't actually supply myself with much yarn. So occasionally I buy yarn there, but not very frequently. Well, there's this one ball of Zobber ball that every time I walk in, it looks at me and I'm like, no, I'm only here for needles. Well, I was only there for needles, but the ball of yarn looked at me and I was like, seriously? Okay, it might be a different dye lot. I don't know. They could get this in, but it was looking at me and I was like, okay, I'm going to get it. I'm going to splurge. I'm going to get myself something that is super beautiful and it's going to be a splurge, but whatever. So I picked up this ball of yarn and put it on the counter with my needles. Oh, do you see that beautiful rainbowy goodness? All the colors are in there. And then the darker colors are in the middle. It's so pretty. And this is Zobber ball. It is a single and it is 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon. So I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet. I don't care, honestly. It can just sit on my desk and be pretty for a while. I put it on the counter and it's normally pretty expensive. I'm going to show you. Not super expensive, but you know, kind of expensive. $23.50 normally. Put it on the counter, was expecting to pay full price. And the lady asked me where I had gotten it from. And so I pointed to the basket where it was, and she walked over and she looked and she was like, I think this might be on sale today. I'm not positive, but let me check. So she went through some things on the computer and she said, oh yeah, this is on sale. This ball of yarn was $5. It was meant to be, right? It was meant to, I needed this yarn. It knew it was for me because I left and I immediately texted the 2 ladies from my Sunday knitting, the 2 who come most regularly, and I have their phone numbers. I sent them both a text saying, Zobber ball on sale today. I got a ball for $5. And one of them had actually just walked in the store for something else. So she grabbed some Zauberball. And it was not $5. Instead of $5, it was $13.50 because they gave her $10 off on each. But yeah, mine was $5. And it rang up that way on the receipt and everything. So it was meant to be. And I don't know what this is going to be. I will take pattern suggestions. I just love it so much. I've seriously been looking at this colorway for 2 years when I walk into that shop. And sometimes you have to embrace the pretty. Oh, I love it so much. I'm so glad I got it. And I'm so excited that it was on sale. I would have been happy paying full price for it though, for this. I would have been happy for it because it's been waiting for me for 2 years. I also have the Ad Hoc pattern by Josh Bricks, which is his newest mystery knit along. Sign-ups are going on right now. It is $4 this week. Then it goes up to $5 next week. And then I believe after that 2-week sign-up period, it will start having pattern releases. So it will be the full amount. It takes 3 colors of yarn, a full skein of color A, and then 2 half-ish skeins of colors B and C. And it's lovely. I may or may not have seen a preview. And it is lovely. I will probably knit along with the mystery knit along as it goes if I can find appropriate yarn in my stash, or find appropriate yarn not in my stash that's not a bajillion dollars, because I did just buy needles and yarn and stuff. I am super looking forward to it though. So if you have not done a mystery knit along before, I think that this one would be a good one. If you like Josh's aesthetic, it's not crazy like the last one. There is no cutting of your knitting. It's just a really, really cool pattern. Very graphic. And he walks through color choice and everything in the pattern description. So if you haven't done a mystery knit along, this one is a good one. So what am I reading this week? I finished Crash Into Me, which is the book that was about suicide. And it was a good book. Allison made a good point wherein she wouldn't necessarily want her teenager to read it unless they were going to discuss it, which I kind of agree with. I mean, it's all about knowing your own kids and stuff. It's something that I would have read and my mom wouldn't have batted an eye, but I was like 10 going on 40, so I don't know. I was just always that way, and I would discuss things with her if I needed to, but I didn't always need to. So it's about knowing your kid's maturity level and what's appropriate for them. But I enjoyed the book, and it could be a good dialogue starter. I would definitely recommend that a parent read it first, or at least skim through it. There are some tough topics that come up in the book, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, obviously it was very grim and dealt with difficult subjects. So it's not for everybody, sensitive subject matter, but for what it was, I enjoyed it. I also finished reading Station 11, which was the adult post-apocalyptic book, and I enjoyed that one a lot also. It was very good. Watching the 6 main characters, their stories and how they connected and how it all meshed together was very, very interesting. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend that one. I've been talking about it for a few weeks though, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. And then I started a new book, which is Love in the Time of Global Warming, and it's a post-apocalyptic young adult book, but it's not my fault. I would have picked this book up no matter what it was because it's by Francesca Lia Block, who is probably, okay, tied for top 2 in my favorite young adult author. Because the other one is Rachel Cohn, but Francesca Lia Block, I have read almost all of her books. There are a couple that I can't get a hold of because they are out of print. But I read almost all of them when I was a teenager and had my spending money. Every 2 weeks or every week, I think it was every 2 weeks, my best friend and I would go up to the mall, and I think between us we had $20, and we always hit the bookstore in the mall. And if there was a new Francesca Lia Block book, we got it. We basically we shared our libraries. They were communal things, so we never bought the same book. We always consulted with which books we were both interested in reading, and then we would buy those. So Francesca Lia Block, all of her books were bought by us, all of them. And I still have all of the ones that I personally bought because I just love her stuff so much. I got rid of a decent portion of my young adult collection because, I didn't need them, but all of these are still on my shelf, all of hers. Anyway, this is set in Los Angeles. They may go on a road trip to Vegas. And I did not read the back of the book before I started reading it, obviously. But I will read you the top sentence, this right here. I'll read you this. A stunning reimagining of Homer's Odyssey set in post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, written by a master storyteller. And she is. I love her writing style. It's a little bit all over the place and very verbose, but I love it so much. I love all of her stories so much. It is set after a major earthquake, and it's just so good. The main character is Penn, and she is left alone basically, but then she meets up with other traveling companions throughout the book. I am a little less than halfway through, and I will have this book finished by next week. It will be back at the library. So just know that I love it, and there's pretty much nothing that could happen that would make me not love this book because I love Francesca Lia Block's writing style. I think there have only been 2 books that I didn't really enjoy, but I still liked them. Does that make sense? Like, I enjoyed them, but not to the level that I enjoy most of her other books. And this is definitely on the level of enjoyment that I expect from her books. If you haven't checked out her stuff, give 1 or 2 a try. Don't start with, what is it, Pretty Dead? It's her vampire one. It's okay, but it's not great. I would even suggest starting with this one because this one is so far pretty great. I would say Violet and Claire or her short stories collection, Girl Goddess number 9. I would start with those. If you're looking to start a new author who you might get hooked on, because I love all of her stuff so much. Finally, I have 2 podcast recommendations. The first is Junk Yarn with Kemper, and she calls it junk yarn like a junk yard with yarn everywhere. She, so far, has had a lot of enabling. Both podcasts I'm talking about today are under 10 episodes. I find her very enjoyable. And then the second is Stitch and Loop podcast with Danny from Iceland. And she does knitting and sewing and talks about her kids. She has 2 small girls. Very enjoyable. I like her podcast a lot. And she also she talks about Iceland, which is really cool for me because I don't really know that much about Iceland. I am super terrible with geography. Like, I have general ideas of where countries are, but I couldn't even on a map say where all of the states are for the US. I knew where all 50 of them were for about a week in 10th grade when I needed to write them all in for a test. And then that was just a penguin that couldn't stay on the iceberg. There are a lot of penguins on the iceberg in my brain, and sometimes one of them falls off. And knowing where all 50 states are located is one of those things that fell off. I couldn't label all of the countries in Europe. I could label the continents, but other than that, geography, I'm really, really terrible. So even if I know a general area where something might be, I don't know a lot about it. And then she also talks about politics and stuff, not in a pushy way, just in a conversational way. And I enjoy that a lot too. I look forward to seeing both of these podcasts evolve into what they're going to be. Because, the first, 20 episodes or something, I would say about the first 20, it's still really about finding your groove. And then after that, you kind of know what a podcast is going to be. So I look forward to seeing what these podcasts are going to be. I have remained something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!